No, for one, they put out a pledge to America, which, from what I've read so far, is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. It's getting back to the right direction. It's cutting spending, limiting government, defunding Obamacare, the exact things we need to do to get the economy going again. But you're right about, excuse me, this party of no stuff. When it comes to government nationalizing industries and spending trillions you don't have, you're daggone right with the party of no. You know what? And you know what? A lot of Democrats are saying no to that as well now, too. You wouldn't believe the Democrat support we have on this campaign. It's overwhelming, and it's amazing. It's shocking to even me, because even Democrats don't recognize what this is. This is the days of JFK are long gone. This is something else entirely. This is out of control. We don't like it. We're uncomfortable with it, and we're uncomfortable with it because we, no matter what, Democrat, Republican, Independent, we have a DNA in this country that understands that government can really get too big and frightening, because that's what we were born as a nation. This is a government that's scary. We have a president that lives on beer and cigarettes, regulating the salt in your diet. That's where we are. A president that talks about his carbon footprint, or your carbon footprint, yet flies in his personal pizza chef from the Midwest to make him a pizza. We have 17% of the American people out of work right now, and a first lady that takes a $400,000 vacation to Spain on your dime. It better stop. We have a president that made $5 million one year, gave less than 1% to charity, gets up and gives a speech saying at some point you've made enough money. At some point you've made enough money, he can make as much as he wants. And that's the problem with Learjet liberals. With this, someone has this great saying on the radio, liberalism. Ideas so great they have to be mandatory. That's exactly right.
That's right.
It's always for everybody else. Notice they exempted themselves from Obamacare, which was supposed to be so great. There was even an amendment saying that Congress has to live under it. Got rejected.
Why don't they give us our your insurance? I don't understand why they can't fight it and pushing all something else on us.
Well, because for all the class warfare that liberals play in this country, they always divide us by age and race and sex and socioeconomic status, and you should hate her and you should hate them and all that. Always. We do have two classes in this country. We have the ruling class and we have the rest of us. Well, we're not peasants, and I'm tired of being treated like one.
How about when we have illegals in an accident, they're taken to an emergency room, and the government doesn't take care of them until after they're done in the hospital? Why can't the government take responsibility for these people when they arrest them and take them to an emergency room? That's where we end up paying for the cost locally.
You're talking about like the $15,000 life flights it costs?
Well, every time they go in an emergency room, local people in the hospitals have to take care of them, and they're never reimbursed for that money.
They do, and that's why hospitals are closing everywhere. Southern California, I think, has had, what, 45 hospital closures in recent years? It's bankrupting. There's no reimbursement because the government runs it.
Yeah.
The government couldn't sell water in the desert to make a profit. It's not in their nature. And the founders understood that. That's why they laid out specifically what the government can do in the Constitution and no more. It was put there to limit them, and now we have a Speaker of the House that's asked if where the Constitution allows for Obamacare. She laughs in the guy's face. They're laughing about the Constitution now like it's just some throwaway thing that they follow when they want. We have a president who said it's a flawed document. I don't find it so flawed. I find our politicians to be very flawed.
And if you ask Mrs. Pelosi about the health care bill when it's in process, she says, oh, just vote for it and you'll find out later. What?
Business that way is the person in this room whose business is funded by someone other than themselves. That's why the government's so out of control. That's why probably no one in Congress has a budget for their personal life that spends twice as much as they're going to take in the next year. Yet they do it for us almost every year because it's not their money. Because they know they can sit up there and they tax and spend and tax and spend, and eventually the deficit's out of control. And they say, hey, we got to raise taxes. Don't be selfish. Got to take it down. Stop spending our money. Stop spending it now. That's not what you're there to do. They passed a bill, and I know I already mentioned this, but they passed a bill that gives the government the power to seize private companies. Where are we? We have a president that fired the CEO of General Motors. The president doesn't get to fire anybody in the private sector. No one. It's, the rule of law is gone.
What's your
definition of fair?
My definition of fair.
Yeah, what's your definition of fair? If you were telling me, like, with taxes, what is fair, or what is fair? What do you think is fair?
Lincoln had a great quote, and I'm going to mangle his quote because I don't have it in front of me. I haven't read it in a while, but it was, everyone proclaims for liberty. Everybody says they love liberty, but in saying so, we do not all mean the same thing. For some people, liberty means the right to do with, as you please with yourself, with your labor, with your private property, and for some it means to do as you please with someone else's labor and private property. That is what I call unfair. What I call is fair is exactly what the founders laid out: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our government exists to protect us, not to spread the wealth around, not to take from one and give to another. Our government exists to protect our liberty, period. That's fair. That's what's fair. You know what's fair? A 10% flat tax is fair. That's the definition of fair. Everyone pays a small percentage to fund the government. That's fair.
You know what's fair? Take Bill Gates, for example.
Oh,
The
yeah.
guy has made billions of dollars, but he's able to give his money to charities, spread it around as he sees fit. He doesn't give it to the government and let them dole it out to people that they think. is
After they consume
That's fair.
57 cents of it.
That's fair.
The government, they take $1 from you, they consume 57 cents of it, and then disperse the 43 remaining to wherever they can buy some votes somewhere. You're right. And we have, you know, it's something we don't talk about enough. Of course, the politicians, Giffords will never give you credit for this. How much charity we have in this country. I mean, we talked about, we talked about during the health care debate that you don't know them or you haven't seen them, but I promise you, right around the corner, someone's dying in the street without health care. You know, everybody said they might know someone that's in it, no one could find them. That's because in this country, you go to churches, synagogues, charities, and you get taken care of in this country. Just because there's no government solution doesn't mean there's no solution. And in fact, most often the opposite is true. The government, they are a wrecking ball. And they get involved in an industry like they've done with the auto industry in this country. The American automobile used to be the icon of the world. But they get involved in every possible way and they stick their fingers into it. And then eventually when it goes broke, they stand up and do exactly what they did. Hey, we better take it over. Otherwise, those free marketers will ruin it. And it's what government does. It's liberal Munchausen syndrome.
And you know that when they talk about no business, but businesses are too big to fail, there shouldn't be any such animal. If I go out there and make a living and I fail, and I'm impoverished, well, that's my doing. We shouldn't bail out those people. That TARP and all that other stuff just gets my goat every time I read it because they didn't do a root cause analysis and go to the root cause of the problem. They just threw more money at the top. And what did it benefit me besides raise my taxes?
As the saying goes, capitalism without bankruptcy is religion without hell. It is, and this is not some third world tin pot dictatorship where you're thrown in a debtor's prison.
Yeah.
Bankruptcy's not the end of the world here. Rupert Murdoch's been bankrupt 3 times. You try, you fail, you get up and try again. You know how many times has Trump been bankrupt? That is America. Failure is part of it, and it's okay. It's okay.
And we'd like to believe that all of these things are done under the guise of being the charitable thing to do, the good thing, and then you find out that the people that are telling you that